Well, Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert took to the airwaves last night to completely wash their hands of their involvement in the loss of Charlie Kirk. Sorry, you're not forgiven. I do not forgive you. I hold your rhetoric responsible for igniting a environment here in America where loser leftists view everybody as the bad guy from WW2 and think they're going to be heroic to take them out. It is the words of Stephen Colbert and it is the words of Jimmy Kimmel that radicalize people into doing this. There needs to be accountability. I will not accept your apology. I do not accept your apology. I do not accept your fake nonsense calls to turn the temperature down. You're only saying this because you're afraid. I'm saying this to you directly, Jimmy Kimmel. I don't want to hear from the guy that said, rest in peace, Wheezy, about turning the temperature down. I don't want to hear from the guy who told people to disown their own family members over the jab about having cooler heads prevail. Read the room, you absolute clowns. And they're getting completely destroyed. And rightfully so. Jimmy Kimmel reacts to what happened to Charlie Kirk. No finger pointing. Well, of course you wouldn't want anyone to point the finger, Jimmy. Of course you wouldn't want anyone to point the finger. What are you talking about? Of course you wouldn't want anyone to point the finger, Jimmy, because they'd be pointing at you and your colleagues and your rhetoric. Every night you got up on that stage and you had some blue-haired liberal write you a monologue. The purpose of that monologue, sinister. The purpose of those nightly monologues of Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel weren't to get laughs. They were to get applause. Everybody knows that. The more sinister purpose of them was to dehumanize their political enemies. To make it easier for some lunatic to take their life because they're subhuman. Right? Rest in peace, Wheezy. Right, Jimmy Kimmel? How you feeling tonight? Are you afraid? I have a feeling you're afraid. I have a feeling Stephen Colbert is afraid, too. They know that they have blood on their hands. They know that their rhetoric is partially responsible for this. They know that as a part of the machine, CNN, MSNBC, Hassan Piker, yes, obviously the man that pulled the trigger, he is the most at fault. But this is the environment now. These are the rules that you have set for. TMZ being forced to apologize after their staff got caught laughing and joking about Charlie Kirk's death on a live stream. They came out to say, oh, well, they were laughing about a car chase. No, they weren't. Nobody believes that. And nobody believes it because that's why you turned off replies to your posts. Jimmy Kimmel has addressed it and posts urging fans to avoid angry finger pointing and to condemn the senseless, mean pew-pew attacks. Of course, that's their pivot. Not just any violence, but they want to talk about the 2A. What? No. It's your people, Jimmy Kimmel. It's your people that normalized this type of rhetoric and attacks. It is you who got on that stage every night and made Charlie Kirk out to be some sort of demon. South Park, all of this stuff played a part. Now, I'm not saying you can't make fun of people, and I'm not saying that you can't have political rhetoric, but I am saying that the sheer amount of it, the sheer unrelenting dehumanization of people like Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump is why people tried to take their lives and did successfully take Charlie's. So no, sorry, you don't get to say, let's take the temperature down now, Jimmy Kimmel. You should quit your job in disgrace. Stephen Colbert, you should quit your job in disgrace. This is a direct result of your rhetoric. Instead of finger pointing, can we just for one day agree that it's horrible and monstrous to take another human's life, Jimmy Kimmel wrote? On behalf of my family, we send love to the Kirks and all their children, parents and innocents who fall victim to senseless. Yep, they're going to talk about the weapons. Guys, it's not the violent rhetoric. It's not the dehumanization. It's the tools they use. Fellow late night show host Stephen Colbert also offered a poignant address about Kirk's life loss in his opening monologue Wednesday. He compared what happened to Kirk to the political unrest that roiled the United States in the 60s, such as what happened to MLK and John F. Kennedy Jr., or President JFK. However, the two liberal hosts were among the few on their political side to offer sincere condolences, with a blight of left-wing social media fanatics celebrating Kirk's death. Jimmy Kimmel is not offering anything sincere. He, like I have talked about many times before, possesses the dark triad: psychopathy, sociopathy. I don't know what the other one is. Can't think of it right now. Left-leaning ideologues made light of it. One right saying, I'm not saying Charlie Kirk deserved it, but I think enablers to creeps should get what we see. They're calling him an enabler to Jeffrey. TikTokers celebrated. All these people are his audience, Stephen Colbert's audience. They all did their part to dehumanize it. TMZ forced to apologize after staff heard erupting in laughter as Charlie Kirk's death was announced. They tried to come out and say that it was because they were watching a high-speed car chase. Wrong. 100% wrong. Nobody believes you, and that's why you hid the replies.
We were live streaming all day during this tragedy when something happened in our office. As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. They were laughing and high-fiving that Charlie Kirk was dead. These people, Hollywood, okay? When they can stand there all stone-faced, and this loser can't even look at the camera. Harvey Levin. You know you're lying. Your own friends and coworkers celebrated his death.
They were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing.
Yes, they were.
They were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Of course they were. Of course they were. We are ushering in the era of Dark Jeremy, Dark the Quartering. I started a whole second channel so I could be more real and raw. I'll link that in the description. Of course they were laughing about his death, Harvey. Get out of here with that. Why did you lock the replies? Nobody believes you. By the way, according to Grok, there were 0 car chases reported on Fox 11, ABC 7, or KTLA. No chases or police pursuits were reported between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. There were no car chases at the time in which I'm supposed to believe a bunch of liberal people in Hollywood were laughing about car chases and not the death of Charlie Kirk. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes that Stephen Colbert feels any kind of way about Charlie Kirk's death. He only fears retribution. He only fears someone doing this to him. That's why these people are reacting the way they are. They are scumbags. They have blood on their hands. CNN, MSNBC, they have blood on their hands. They get on the airwaves every night and convince everyday Americans, including some with mental illness, that people like Charlie Kirk, quote unquote, must be stopped. People like Charlie Kirk are evil. People like Charlie Kirk are demonic, and you're doing the world a favor if you stop him. That is what these people on CNN and MSNBC and late night talk show hosts and people like Hassan Piker, that's what they're telling their audience every day. And for these losers to not commit to it in the moment in which they got what they had been praying they would receive is cowardly. Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, they wanted this to happen. They know that they partook in this happening. They know that their rhetoric led to this and they're happy about it. Don't you for one damn second think that whatever pre-scripted monologue they read last night was an indication that they were feeling any kind of remorse, because they weren't. If you think for even 1 second that these people at TMZ who were laughing at the announcement of Charlie Kirk, a father, 2 young kids, losing his life live on the internet so that his family will never be able to escape the images of it. If you think for a second that they weren't laughing about it, then you're not ready. And I hope you wake up. I woke up yesterday. I thought I was pretty awakened. I thought I was pretty hip to what was going on. I was not prepared. I knew that people said evil things online. I knew that occasionally they did them in real life. Now I see more clearly than ever it's all connected. It starts with the media, late night show hosts, Hollywood celebrities, left-wing political pundits like Destiny and Hassan Piker, fomenting attacks on these people, dehumanizing them, practically cheering for it. Destiny, Hassan. Now they got to say, now we want to turn the temperature down? Nah, I'm not ready to turn the temperature down. I don't care. I'm not calling for it, but I don't care if all these idiots get deplatformed. I don't care, because I believe now more than ever that it is their rhetoric that led to the death of Charlie Kirk and has led to the death of, people in churches and schools. Their message is heard by a broad audience. Some percentage of them are deranged. And they caused this to happen. No, I won't be hearing your message about cooler heads. Remember when the Democrats had their big cooler heads moment after one of their own tried to take out President Trump, not once, but twice? Guys, we got to turn on the temperature. How long did that last? Just long enough for the right wing to calm down. Then they were right back to it. They did it yesterday. Charlie Kirk, passes away, and moments after it, CNN and MSNBC are right back to demonizing him, postulating if maybe he did deserve this, or was one of his supporters, or some other crazy thing. No, I won't be forgiving you. I'm going to stay mad, and I'm going to stay vigilant, and I'm going to inspire, hopefully, my viewers to go to church, grow their families, start a family, get involved in local politics, get involved in national politics. You could bet your rear end that I will be working with TPUSA this fall and for the midterm elections. And I hope that more people will carry the torch for Charlie too. Cowards.